Starts live video. Okay, it says it starts the video, so we'll start the video.
I'm down to 15.
I heard this nice shot last week. How do you say, we got some Yiddish speakers, how do you say a person?
A mensch.
A mensch. How do you say a little action figure?
Menchi.
A menchi, right?
Menschele.
Menschele. So a mensch and a menchi. So there's a word called, in Hebrew, called ishon. Ishon basayin. Ishon basayin is referring to the pupil of the eye, the little black part in the middle of the eye. So an ish is a man. Ishon is like a little man. Why? I think Rabbi Fran says this, because when you look into the pupil of the eye at yourself, what do you see? You look into someone else's, you see yourself very little. You see a little menchi, right? So that shows basically that when we look at another person, so we're only really seeing a menchi of them. Right? A person is huge. A person has so much going on, so much that he's done, so much that is part of him. But when we look at him, we're really only seeing a teeny part. We have to recognize that when we look at another person. So when we look at the Avos HaKadoshim also, so often we see them very one-dimensional, or like for instance Yitzchak Avinu, this week's parsha. I mean, when I grow up, I guess you have this vision of Yitzchak being gvura and being like this, whatever your strictest Rosh Hashiva you had, that's who Yitzchak Avinu is, the guy that kicked out all your friends, maybe even you. No, he was Yitzchak, he was like that guy. So that's how you envision Yitzchak Avinu. If you see the parshas, he barely says anything, he barely does anything. Yaakov has all these crazy things happening, Avram was, doing chesed and everything. It's like, if Mom says a few lines here in this week's parsha, but they're very little. But if you look deeper in the parsha and in all these parshas, you see definitely more and more depth to the Avos HaKadoshim. So it says, we start to see this, hence the name of the shir. But it says in the beginning of the parsha, Rivka, the daughter, anti-clones, something like that. Rivka, the daughter of Besuel, the sister of Lavan. So Rashi right away speaks about that and says that it's such an amazing praise, that she was the daughter of a Rasha, she's sister of a Rasha, and yet she was a tzaddikus from the get-go. Literally the next pasuk says that they didn't have children. Yitzchak married Rivka and they didn't have children, and they were davening, and it says Vayetar Loi. Who did HaKadosh Baruch Hu answer?
Him.
Yitzchak. Why? Ein doime tefillah, whatever, I don't know the exact lesson. Tzaddik ben Rasha. Yeah.
You have it written on Luach Livacha.
Yeah, Luach Livacha. That's how it has to be. That's how it has to be. So the psukim seem contradictory. A second ago you were saying she is so great that she was from all these Rishon, and yet she was holy. And then a second later, yeah, but you have Yitzchak, who is much holier because he came from tzaddikim. So you could say that both of them are true. It's not a contradiction necessarily. It's saying there's a godless to being good in a terrible place, and there's an even greater thing to be a tzaddik ben tzaddik. Some Mefarshim, more of the Hasidic bent, learned the opposite way. In a doime, that she was for sure better than Yitzchak. She was actually answered, and they have a whole dray how you could learn that up. But without getting into that,
why do you have to say that he was greater?
Why do you have to say what?
He was greater.
That he was greater?
You could say that in the zechus of his grandparents.
Right,
Nothing to do with him.
Yeah, no, there are ways to learn it up like that. That it's not necessarily his father. Right.
Wait, did they say it means it's not similar? Meaning she was better, but then what's why Yasser lie?
They have ways of knitting this way and that way. Yeah, exactly.
Upside down. It's a good job.
She was really davening for him, and he was really davening for her. So when he davened, they say something like this.
Oh, really? That's
when he davened, it was really.
Faces of Torah, it says in the Medrash.
Yeah, and that's all true. Yeah. But the stone.
It does say that he was davening in front of her because she was barren. So that's shot that he was davening for her.
He was davening for her. Yeah.
Wow.
And she was davening for him.
Is that like the makar that you're supposed to daven for other people?
For someone that was from last week or 2 weeks ago, a parsha where Avram Avinu never had children, and then Sarah got taken by Abimelech, and Abimelech's him and every single person in his household's wombs and all their reproductive organs were closed. And so he cried out to Avram, and Avram Avinu davened to Hashem, and it was open. They received from him. And then right after that, he got a child. Pakar Asara. From that, Rashi brings it down there that your answered first. He who davens for someone else is answered first. Which is, anyways, to make a good diak, it's he who davens for someone else is answered first. First is mashma that there'll be a second. So to always remember that when you daven for someone else, it's not just he'll be answered, but you'll be answered also as Hashem. Yeah. I was at my my nephew's bar mitzvah, Mendel, and we were in Crown Heights, and I was up early. He was up early, and we were hanging out together. And he needed his tikkun, his whatever, the tikkun korim. Tikkun korim. To bar mitzvah, he was nervous. He was laning, and so he had to get going to the bar mitzvah already. And I didn't have my coat. It was the dead of the winter. I was like going crazy, looking for my coat. He was looking for his tikkun. I said, Mendel, stop! You daven for me that I should find my coat. And he's like, what are you talking about? A little 13-year-old guy is like, what are you saying? I said, you daven for me that I should find my coat. I'll daven for you. So he said, what? I said, stop. Just say it, tefillah. I should find my coat, and I'll say Hashem. So we said it, tefillah. Literally a minute later, he found his tikkun, and a minute later, I found my coat. You daven for another person. It changes things. It moves things around. The article, though, Rabbi Stone edition, has a pshat, who he does not quote who it's from, so I'm assuming it's from Rabbi Stone. How do they call him here? Rabbi Blue. That he says that, this is an interesting Nakuda. He says that in a certain way, Yitzchak Avinu was greater than Rivka. Rivka was great because she came from Rishayim and she was a tzaddikus. But Yitzchak was even greater. Why? Because he came from a tzaddik, and the danger of coming from a tzaddik and always remaining good is that you become a clone. Is that you just imitate the tzaddikim that you see, your father, in this case Avram Avinu, and you just continue that way. But if Yitzchak would have done that, it would have been a catastrophe. Why? Because, as we know, his inner midah was gevura. Gevura is almost polar opposite of chesed, which is Avram Avinu's midah. So, Mamela, if he would have just tried to copy and imitate Avram Avinu's midah of chesed, it would have been a disaster. He remained good, he remained kadosh, and he remained totally in the right side his whole life, but he didn't imitate. He had to go and within that goodness find who he really was, and how does gevura reflect in chesed. And by doing that, that was something that was actually very, very difficult. And you see that even in real life, that often people that go off to India and they five develop, five Yiddishkeit, everything, right? They go backpacking and they give up everything, and then they start.
Give up, they try to find themselves.
Right, and then they start to find themselves, so it happens a very powerful way, and they find themselves in amazing ways, right? But then you have another guy that sits in yeshiva all day and listens to the Rosh Yeshiva and, does everything the way it is. Very hard for that guy to find himself. It's not as simple, not even as easy. You might think, well, obviously you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be there, but it's a avodah even within the yeshiva system, within all these things. My Rebbe Rav Chaim Kramer always used to scream at me about this. He says, they want to make us all clones. Every single person, every single person, exact same thing. He says, we're not clones, we're Yidden. Every Yid is a soul. Every Yid has to find who he is and bring out his Nakuda. My own
They didn't fire him?
addition, he's not. He just writes Breslov books, so no.
Okay.
They didn't fire him from that job yet. He's still doing it. But yeah. He got probably fired from the other jobs that he tried doing that. But maybe a smach to this could be that the word that shows us that Yitzchak Avinu was answered was the word. What does it say in the pasuk? Ve'ater loy. Loy is gematria 36. Loy is him, literally. Ve'ater loy is gematria 36. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu was saying that I answered him. 36 is the hidden tzaddik. The hidden tzaddik is really the hidden tzaddik within each and every one of us. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu was saying that he found his own self. That was why he listened. That is why he listened to his tefillah, because he wasn't stam, another clone. He actually found who his midah was, and he became that. That's one facet of it. You see that Yitzchak Avinu was not stam like Chaim, drinking beer out of a styrofoam paper cup. Very unique.
What's the thing with the 36? What did you say that hidden one?
36 is the lam of tzaddikim, the hidden tzaddikim. So in general, we think that there's 36 hidden tzaddikim out in the forest somewhere. If you fly, if you go far enough into the forest, you probably find them. which are stories, and I
India.
happen to know a couple of them. But
Oh, but it says specifically 36.
there's stories that, like some guy, that ends up in the forest lost, and he finds this, tzaddik in the middle of nowhere. All the Baal Shem Tov stories with these type of things. Don't get me started.
Such a topic of this year.
Yeah.
I'm saying there are people in Muncie that are hidden tzaddikim.
No, so that's what I'm saying. So
You used to be hidden tzaddikim.
there's
So popular it's nowhere hidden, huh?
yeah, nowadays with Instagram, there's no more hidden tzaddikim. Second you get a selfie, finished, publicized.
But it says in like one of the Gemara or some whatever, there's like 36. Whatever.
I don't know if it's Gemara. I don't know. I'm not sure where the source is, but maybe in the Zohar or something. But there's a source about it.
Gorgeous.
But the 36 hidden tzaddikim very often in the Sfarim HaKadoshim are brought down as referring to your own hidden tzaddik, right? That a person himself has a part inside of him that's hidden from himself, that is a pure tzaddik, an awesome tzaddik, and we have to try to find that in our own selves. That's the hidden tzaddik. So Yitzchak Avinu, from searching for his own midah, from his own unique perspective on how to relate to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, found that. And that was what it said, Vayatar Loi, that was the godless of that. Another aspect of the uniqueness of Yitzchak Avinu, another facet of it, could be from, I said this already on YouTube once, and I'll say it again on YouTube and on Facebook, and if I have to say it on Instagram, I'll say it on Instagram, but they only give you a minute, so it's hard. WhatsApp, I'll say it. That there's a story with the Heilige Ribnitzer that I heard from Matcha.
Flickr. Does anyone use
I'm
Flickr?
way too old for Snapchat. They don't even let people that my age on it. Oh, so you see.
What about
There you go.
Flickr? What's that?
Twitter, I don't know. Eventually they'll all be merged into one conglomerate, and it'll be called Google. No.
They do have an app that you can post on one place and that post on all
Was
the
all of them?
I once wanted to learn how to Google, but I didn't know what Google was. I couldn't Google.
No, what was that?
Saying good, you're saying
What did
good.
you just say?
All right.
I wanted to Google. Ask him, yeah.
But
I wanted to know what Google was. I wanted to Google, but I didn't know what Google was to Google it.
I hear.
Like,
So
you see the video about the Nidarim, like call neither of Facebook or
yeah. Shem Yirachem.
WhatsApp.
Shem Yirachem. So there's a story with the Heilige Ribnitzer. We were there by the Tzion today, by the Ribnitzer, one of the lights of Muncie now. So there's a story that he was in Eretz Yisrael for Tekufa, the Heilige Rebbe, and he came to a chasana out in Tel Aviv somewhere. Back in the day, Tel Aviv was like where the Belzer Rebbe or a lot of tzaddikim were there. And he came to a chasana there, and everyone saw a Rebbe, and they all came over, and they were giving sholem, and the Rebbe was, and sure enough, the drummer, non-religious drummer over there, was also there, and he saw a big Rebbe, so he ran over. It was on break, and he went to the Rebbe and said, Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, and the Rebbe just went, oh, and held back his hand. So the guy was like, oh, here is not religious guy. All these Hasidim are giving him, shalom, and he sees a not religious guy. He takes away his hand. Oh, okay, what a Rebbe this is. So he was venting a little bit to one of the guys, and the guy said, no. The Rebbe won't shake hands to someone that didn't go to the mikveh that day. So I go, what? He sees my hair is dripping wet. I could have gone to the mikveh 15 hours ago. What does that mean? He goes, no. The Rebbe sees. He sees. He says, okay, fine. They said. There was another break around 2 hours later. He ran to the beach, Tel Aviv. It was mamish a minute away. Took off his clothing, dunked in there. This is a guy I wanted to, dunked in there. Ran back, came straight to the Rebbe. The Rebbe goes, Shalom Aleichem. Gave him a hug, gave him his hand, gave him everything. And the guy was like on the floor. He couldn't believe it. Kitzer, so now, as they say in Yiddish, you have a Yid like the Ribnitzer who was able to see things that we can't imagine beyond. And you have Yitzchak Avinu. And I understand that he's blind. I understand that he's maybe, Esav is coming and saying, Tati, how do you meiser salt and stuff? But come on, I mean, he wasn't able to sense even a little bit that Yitzchak is, that Yaakov is like the holiest tzaddik in the world, and Esav is this mamish, the Russian Rouge is killing and murdering, doing all the world. Right, that was the whole thing. But Yitzchak Avinu probably could tell. But yet the pasuk says Yitzchak loved Esav. Sheila, what's the pasuk? V'yev Yitzchak es Esav,
Kitzai
v'kitzai
b'fiv,
b'fiv, Rivka heves es Yaakov. Right? So what? Yitzchak loved Esav and he didn't like Yaakov and what's going on? So if you think about it based on what we were speaking about before, who Yitzchak was, how we envision him, he's the Rosh Hashiva that throws the guys out. So that Rosh Hashiva that's, strict, so he gets a guy that's not doing good, and he's going off the derech, and he's not doing well. So what does the Rosh Hashiva do?
Get out!
Go! Don't ever come back here! I don't want to see you. You're going to have a bad influence on Yaakov. Get out! Get out! What? Depends what Yeshiva. So what?
You're supposed to do muster now.
Right. So what's the godless of Yitzchak
Who spares the rod
Avinu?
hates his son. It says in Mishnah.
There you go, man.
Who spares the rod hates his son.
We'll put that on your shidduch resume for your wife, Michelle. The rod is coming out with this marriage.
Whackens him with muster.
He's a disciplinarian.
Disciplinary. All right, guys. But what's the nakuda? The nakuda is that Yitzchak Avinu was able to take his gvura that might have naturally felt like kicking out Esav, and he was able to take that gvura and overcome it and say, I love Esav even though I feel like I want to kick him out. That's what the pasuk is saying. V'yav Yitzchak as Esav. He loved Esav. That was a chiddush. Obviously, he loved Yaakov. Yaakov was a good guy, and he understood that he was a big tzaddik, and he loved him. But the godless of the pasuk is testifying is that he loved Esav. That was a big chiddush. Rivka, her midah wasn't like that. Her midah was anyways chesed. So for her to love Yaakov, that wasn't even that probably her midah was more to love Esav, and so it would testify that she loved Yaakov. So basically, you see that.
Like Esau?
It's that's according to this. Maybe she loved Esav kapshuta. She was filled with chesed. But the fact that she loved Yaakov might have been a chiddush because Yaakov, basically it's a reflecting on Yitzchak more that his midah, he overcame his midah. So again, you see that Yitzchak Avinu was not a one-dimensional character. He was actually very what? Very 3D. Very 3D, if you will. Lamaisa, the to get back to what you started with Coca-Cola as the source of life, it says that Yaakov was someone quoted that pre-game before he got there, that said that Coca-Cola is the essence of Yiddishkeit in life. But I happen to love Coca-Cola, so it's a hard time arguing. But
It's weird that we only have Fresca, huh?
yeah, I think there is Coke in the back.
Yeah, Diet Coke. It's Coke's cousin.
Yeah,
Distant relative.
as my So yeah, it says, give me the pasuk, the verse of the birth of Yaakov.
Yaakov.
Ochezes ba'akev Esav. Ochezes ba'akev Achiv. Yado ochezes ba'akev Esav. Yigishma Yaakov. So Yaakov Avinu, our forefather, he gets his name from what? He gets his name from holding on to the heel of Esav. Esav is like the Rasha. He's holding on to the lowest part of Esav, and that's his name, Yaakov, the heel of Esav. It's crazy. Like our Av is called from the heel of Esav. He didn't want to let him get out, right? That's also.
So Esav came out first with Yaakov on his heel,
Holding on to his heel.
Like Yaakov's hand already exited, like when Esav was out.
Esav was like going out, and Yaakov was holding on.
But it says Esav came out. That's one pasuk. So when Esav came out, his mother was holding him. She was holding Yaakov's hand also.
L'chayra.
Or
According
he
to
like
the
pulled
shot.
him off and the hand went back in. Like it's,
I don't know. You have to ask the midwife.
2 for 1 deal. You should let them out.
Yeah,
No, 'cause it says
exactly.
afterwards, Yaakov came out.
But then he could have timed it that he's really the Bechor because they were holding on.
I mean, that's
The whole lumdus he could have come up with.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
Kapshuta, it means
His
like
hand
that.
was holding on, but Esav already had exited the pasuk before. So Esav and Yaakov's hand went out first. And then
Ace's foot and Yaakov's hand.
No, the din goes by the head.
I don't know.
The din of whatever.
Yeah.
He's considered alive or something has to do with that.
But Esav came out. So when
Esav
the
came out
doctor
by
was
the
holding
head.
Esav,
No.
was she also holding Yaakov's hand?
The doctor was a
But
woman.
still on the
He
heel.
said she was holding Esav by the heel also.
What?
She was holding Esav by
These crap questions. We'll keep it for the after game. But hold that thought.
Post game
Wrap up. But the Kli Yakar, I think, explains this, and it's a beautiful pshat that is for life. That he says, it says in Parshas Eikav, these are things that we trample with the heel of our foot, right? The mitzvahs, anashim dashim, whatever. Yeah, that the what? Like polishing the shoes that you trample with your feet. It means that it's the small mitzvahs, the mitzvahs that we think are not a big deal. We just trample on them. We bench, we say ashiyotza, whatever, whatever. It doesn't matter. But he says that a guy, when he looks at the mitzvahs, when he looks at coming closer to Hashem, so the big things are the things that he actually does take into account. He says, yeah, I'll donate a building, I'll give big charity and stuff. The small things is where he loses it, where he says they don't matter. Yaakov, the Korach of a Yid, is that he grabs onto dafka those teeny things, on the akev, on the things that you slam down with your foot that mean nothing, that's where he grabs on. So that the whole Yiddishkeit really comes out. Mamish, the essence of Bnei Yisrael, of Yaakov, is when we grab onto the things that people think are little or nothing, are absolutely garnished, you know? Yeah, there you go. There you go.
How do you know which one's light and how it's fill in like light?
Ayin Sham in the Mishnah there. There's a lot of different Pirushim there. The Fumtzar Agar is one of the Terutzim. The things that are hard are maybe the bigger mitzvahs, and the things that are easier are maybe smaller mitzvahs that people dash. But just now, a guy told me that he was not from, and he decided though that before he turns on a light on Shabbos, he's going to stop. No, he's going to wait. He says he's a Jew. He knows you're supposed to keep Shabbos, but he's not keeping Shabbos for whatever reason. But he's going to wait 10 seconds and say, Hashem, this is my piece to you, my prayer to you. I know that's. He said 10 seconds, and he did that, and he's Choser B'tshuva. What? Someone's phone's on. The point is that if you bring that to a guy that's only machshav big things, he said, what is that? It's garnish. It's not even garnish. It's terrible. No, that stuff he says was than the biggest things. Right? The smallest things that we do are your most powerful things, like the story with the.
How hard is
Also, those are pretty difficult things, right. Another shot from the Toldos is very interesting. He says that we are called by Yaakov, by the heel. Why? Because this is where Coca-Cola comes in. We look at the end of everything. Esav literally means to do, right away. I feel something, I do it, right? Coca-Cola, you see the advertisement, you run, right? Yaakov Avinu, a Rebbe of mine used to say, whenever you see the advertisement of anything in all life, an advertisement, speak out with words what the advertisement is actually telling you. I was asked this in like 1996. I was around somewhere, and they were doing the beginning of the litigation against the Marlboro and the Big Tobacco before they even started all these, multi-billion-dollar lawsuits. And they came over to me and they said, "Can we ask you some questions on a survey?" So I said, "Sure." Nothing to do with in those days. And so they opened up this big book and they showed me advertisements from cigarettes. And they said, "What is this advertisement telling you?" So it was sure enough a picture of, a bar, a restaurant, whatever. Some guy smoking and like a lady looking at him, very, sneezely. So I said, well, it seems to be saying that if you smoke a Newport, then you're going to get married very quickly. And she was like, okay, thank you very much. Afterwards, I'm like, wow, this is so crazy. Like people, we see the advertisement, and we think that, the 8 billion guys, losers, they think subconsciously, because the advertisement goes straight subconsciously. That's right. Coca-Cola, right? Coca-Cola. If I drink Coca-Cola, so my rabbi used to tell me, he said, just speak it out. If you actually verbalize the advertisements, you see how stupid it is, right? Here you go. I'm on an emoji from the iPhone 10. This is so exciting. I feel mushlam now. Hashem, please keep me in this world. I reached an emoji from iPhone 10. Please keep me in this world. Thank you. Please send it to me, and I'll put it on my new Facebook. Kitzer. If you speak it out, if I have Coca-Cola, if I would have Coca-Cola, you see a picture of a guys and all having a party on the beach. So when I drink Coca-Cola, I'm a mela, I'm in the biggest party in my life, and I'm going to have the best thing. You speak things out, it's absolutely stupid.
Because it's the emotion, it's the logic. So when you speak it out, you're using logic. So when it hits you, it's an emotional.
They don't want you to speak it out. If you'd speak it out every advertisement, you'd never buy anything.
Sudden, give a Coke to someone, and all of a sudden they become happy.
Right.
You emotional.
They do it with triggers, with pictures worth 1,000 words. So imagine if you would explain the 1,000 words in 1,000 words why you should drink Coke, you'd be like, not such a great advertisement, not such a great, convincing. But if you blast someone with 1,000 words at one time, like Coca-Cola is the best way, like if you'd hear all those 1,000 words of what you see in a picture, so you're crazed. You're like, oh my gosh, I have to have this, And since we are on a tirade, at least I am, to try for myself and for everyone in the whole generation that we're being destroyed by iPhones and smartphones and these things.
Can I tell you something you'd love?
Let me hear.
I heard something about Jacobson. I don't remember.
The iPhone 10? No, you
You
don't have to get it.
Listen to this, guys. Trust me, you want to hear this.
Let's hear what you say.
Listen to this.
Yes,
So
speaker.
basically-
A word from our
basically,
sponsor.
Apple-
Without further ado.
Okay. So, why is it this week's Parsha when Rivka decided that Asa is being thrown out of the home? What did he do? What did she do? She went. She didn't want him. She didn't want Asa to get the brachos. She wanted Yaakov to get the brachos. So what did she do? She put on this whole skit. Put on a costume and go in. And it sounds very funny. Like there's like a dishonesty going on here. I mean, by Avram just a few weeks earlier, when Avram's wife Sarah didn't want Yishmael in the house. What
Right.
did she do? She said, Avram, honey, Yishmael out of the house. Cool. That's it. There was no maybe costume, put him on. They just sent him out of the house. So why didn't Rivka go over to her husband and say, Yitzchak, Esav is having a bad impact on the family. Send him out. Why? And that's it. Why did she have this whole shtill?
Yeah.
This whole thing listen, he's not worthy of the brachos. Give the brachos to
Right. Be straight up.
He's going to be stretching out the question because it's mamash.
It's the power. The question's better than the answer.
Power of the week.
Oh, Judah, you're supposed to send out your own son, or only like the mistress's son?
Turn around.
Should we turn around? I don't know what
I'm
people
asking a question.
shidduchim things.
Why couldn't she just go
Maybe it's
over
better
to
for
her
shidduchim.
husband? Why did you go to her husband and say to her husband, listen,
I don't know.
Esav shouldn't get the brachos.
Yeah, let me hear. So
Yaakov
what's
get
the
the
pshat?
brachos.
Let's get to the pshat.
What's Tirutz?
Okay. Anyway, why? Because
Let's hear you.
Rivka
Listen closely. Can we get guitar? Can we get some harmony?
Rivka knew one day the Yidden, they're not going to always necessarily look like Yaakov and be Yaakov. They may one day, you're always going to be a Yaakov, but maybe even sometimes look like Esau. So she wanted that her husband should give over the brachos that's going to go on to all generations, that it shouldn't just go on to someone that looks like Yaakov, but it should go on to someone even that looks like an Esau.
A Yaakov that looks like Esau.
Even though we're always a Yaakov, but even a Yaakov that looks like an Esau, the bracha should be everlasting.
You're saying even a Yaakov with a smartphone, he gave the
Why
bracha
did
to.
he kick him out though? He didn't-
Time out. What do you think of
Well,
that?
you're saying
I didn't say it,
You're saying
girl.
even
Beautiful.
people
Beautiful.
have
I love it. I love it.
I heard another
Well,
one.
you
How
didn't
come?
answer the question.
What
Why
took
did
so
he
long
kick
for
him out?
Esav?
He didn't kick him.
What took so long for Esav to come back with the Bahama?
What do you mean?
You're
What took
saying-
so long?
There's a medrash about that, no?
What do you
Why
mean?
did-
What makes you think
He
it's
ran
long?
out.
For Yaakov, we need to go bring a Bahama. It could take an hour. For Esav, why did it take
Oh,
2
you're saying
hours?
no, because they had them in the shed. No,
So someone says that the reason why is because he had to take snaps and he had to post it and he had to. That takes time. Yaakov, chef.
He checked his WhatsApp 3 times. Yeah.
That's what the environmental says.
And Yaakov opened up his kosher phone and he closed it when no one called and he went and did it. I like that. There you go.
Wait,
I was gonna.
Wait, where's that guy that kept selling bars last week?
What?
That dude that kept selling bars.
I know. He's not here. We're still holding.
We're just getting.
Akitzer shkoyach Yehuda. Awesome verse. You gotta go. Okay, Fali. Tia bari. Tia bari. Chazak v'yamas. Tabach shemo.
How many people you got locked there?
I don't know. I don't look.
Yeah.
2 dead and 3 are still
Tia
alive.
dead.
What happened?
You were saying something about the iPhone or something?
So if you want to apply that to the iPhone world, to use it as a practical eitzah, again, for something to help us in this world that's being deluged by iPhones and trying to destroy our lives with it, if we can use that concept of speaking out the advertisements, we could say, the next time you want to do something and post and social media and do all these things, you could just speak it out. Okay, so I'm going to take a picture of it and I'm going to post it, and 33 people or 122 people are going to like it. And then what? And then what? And if 200 people like it, I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to be more self-actualized and more confident and greater that I did something better. No. When you speak out things that are just, what do you mean? But maybe, well, who, maybe it'll go viral, And then if it goes viral, you have 3 million people that
Then
saw
you
your
get
stupid
pranasa.
picture.
Why is it different than a,
Then you get
why is it
pranasa.
different than a compliment?
Why is it different than a compliment?
Better, yeah. Same thing with
I hear.
What do you mean, but don't you want to show your friends that you're having like a good time and you're having a good life? To make sure that they...
Right. Maybe if you speak it out that far, maybe you'd even realize that, right? That a lot of it is coming from that, not so much the need for compliments. But yeah.
Good show.
Anyways, maybe that could help. Just to end off, because Meir came and we have to give him something. Yaakov, again, he was inside the womb. And he was going crazy to be the firstborn. He was trying to break out, trying to hold on, doing all of these crazy things. So Rav Moshe Mordechai of Lelov asks...
Who's that, like a Rebbe?
A Rebbe, yeah.
What's the Sefer called? You don't have one?
Don't know. It's from Rav Biederman's Kuntris in this week.
Nice.
So he says, what in the world is going to help to hold on to the Akev of Esav? He's not coming out first, right? You're in the womb. You see that guy is coming out first. He's got the first slot. And you're second. What is he doing holding on? Why is he fighting? So he says the whole thing is a vart and hishtadlus. Hishtadlus means you do what you can. It doesn't mean you're going to succeed. It doesn't mean you're going to win. It doesn't mean that it's even shaykh to succeed or win. You do what you can. So he said, I can't do anything right now. I'm not pushing out Esav out. I'm going to hold on and try. I'm going to do anything I can. And what happened?
He gets the Bechor.
13 years later, he gets the Bechor with a miraculous, crazy story. So he says that the same thing, you just do what you can. No good deed is ever lost. No good deed is ever lost. There's a similar pshat that comes out from this same parsha, from the similar, like almost the same thing, that it says the same word almost with the base medrash, right? Every time they pass the base medrash, it was banging, let me out. Like, why? What are you doing, right? He says he was trying. A person tries. He tries to do anything. The other big question on that is that in the end of the day, this was a different question I have somewhere else. The question is, where is that in the files? I don't see it right now.
I may ask Siri.
What? Oh, okay, ask Siri. Okay, fine. So
Is that Apple, I think? Is that
no, this is the Corona. The Windows guy who really doesn't know anything. If you think the Siri's dumb, you had never met this Cortana guy. Wow.
Well, that's like the Microsoft one they use in the NFL, like the coaches.
I don't know. Not holding, but yeah. So he said. So why is Yaakov Avinu trying to break out and come out when there's a base medrash? Not only that, there was a malach teaching him Torah. So he says any good yearning is never lost. A good yearning is always rewarded, and is praised. So he says that Turbina Rav, he was a big Rav and a Rosh Hashiva, but in the beginning, before he was those things, he actually worked. And he said during those years that he worked, he grew more in learning than during the years that maybe he was a Rosh Hashiva. He said, because during those years that he was working, he said he just wanted to learn so badly. He was thirsting like he hadn't drank in 3 days, so that when he'd come, he would have such
time is also so much more valuable.
desire and such right. And you use their time so the Chabina Rav in Yerushalayim, Chabina Rav.
Dover Wiedenfeld.
Wiedenfeld, very good.
Dover Mesharim.
It's good to have you, Shella. But he said that he grew more from those days than anything else, and. It could be that you see it from, another.
So Yaakov ends up getting back the Bechor. I mean, when Esau. So what did he tell him? Like he said, it's as if you came out of the stomach first, whatever, like the womb first, or was it
I don't
spiritual?
think. I think it was the rights. It was the spiritual stuff, and I mean,
The Svarim talk about like what went down by the cell. If there's no official sale.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things about that.
Was it right of Yaakov to make a deal like that? The guy, Esau was supposedly about to die. No, he felt like he was going to die or something.
So
well, just as he was tired, no?
He says he says
He
said like he was.
I thought he said like, what's the point in it for down the line?
That's what Rashi says, right? And at the end of the day, what am I going to get? I'm just going to get killed.
What do you mean? Why can you make a sale?
No, I'm saying it's a right of Yaakov, someone as great as Yaakov, to hold that as like for ransom,
The truth of the matter is that the words that it says at the end, this is just the R that I had today, it says Vayivez Esav es bechira. that he embarrassed the Bechor. Why? Because Lechor, let's say you go with that pshat that he was ravenous, he was hungry beyond hungry, he says, because he was killing all day, but forget that point. So he felt like he was going to die, right? So when you're in that situation and you need to eat something, some guy has a soup, so you feel like you're going to die, you'll do anything. Hey, we want the Bechor, you want $1 million, forget it all, right? I said that story from Tzvi Meyer. He was on an airplane, or Tzvi Meyer, Zilberberg is super intense with Shmiras Einayim and Shmiras, even hearing a woman's voice. So he flies on first class usually, and they rent him out the first class. They rent him out the whole front. And usually people are respectful. First class is chilled out. There was a lady like 3 or 4 rows behind the first class that decided she was going to be and she's like screaming as loud as she can, being as loud as she can because she sees all the Hasidim there. Tzvi Meyer was bugging out. He was like, he had the earplugs. He could still hear the lady's voice clearly. He said, tell her whatever she wants. The only thing that I own is in my apartment. It's worth $500,000 in Yerushalayim. Tell her it's hers. Tell her I'll sign it right now. Just stop speaking, stop screaming, stop doing this to me. He was like, so you have a person that's desperate like Esav. Yeah, he'll sell anything. But then the words right after that show the whole thing. Like he ate, vayakam, vayelech. Wasn't like afterwards he was full. He should have been like, oh, whoa, what did I just do? Was I so stupid? I'm full now. I'm not dying. I'm fine. Like, give it to me back. Yeah. He just got up and went off. It shows he had no chashivas. He didn't care about it. It had nothing. Vayivas esav esav. He was mevaza the bachar. He didn't care about it.
That doesn't answer why Yaakov would do it.
Right. The Indian of Yaakov was based. If you want to reflect it, and I can't give you the exact details of how this works out, but it has to do also with the Nakuda of Yitzchak, what we were saying before, that whatever midah that they're tested with, they had to deal with in their whole life. Yitzchak had to deal with loving Esav. Avraham Avinu had to deal with kicking out Yishmael. He wanted to love Yishmael. Right. And Yaakov Avinu had to deal with lying his whole entire life. Lying for the Bechor, lying for him. He had to deal with lying. He had to deal with love on everything. That the midah that we're tested with in our life is that midah that we have, and we have to know how to traverse it. So, again, the details, I don't know. Why is it
that he had to get it? Because if it's God's will, then you're not. It says you're even not alive to Shalom Bayit, so you're definitely allowed to sell someone something that's not the most fair sale.
Right, I guess. But
there's also a bit about like the Mashiach coming from the path of that's murky,
unclear. Yeah, right. So, the good things had to come out through interesting ways. Can't bring it up right now. Bring it up. Mama Kim. A Kitzer, do one last point just to end off on a nice shtickle that when the world is the point of Yaakov Avinu trying to jump out of the womb. He's in the womb. He's not getting out. He's learning Torah. Why are you jumping out when you pass the Beis Medrash? You're not getting out. And if you would get out, that would be the end of it. Chas v'shalom, like, what are you doing? So he just had a pshat. I set up shot last week, but Rabbi Biederman set up shot. That was, I thought, awesome. In the Mishnah last week, that a guy's walking down the street, and he's learning, and he stops, and he says, what a beautiful tree, what a beautiful furrow. Chayav akilu, chayav malav akos akilu, chayav nafsha. He's chayav misa. What is he doing? He's learning. Why is he doing it? He said a mashal of a guy people are traveling on an airplane. And they're up in 30,000 feet. And the guy looks out the window, they're all sleeping. He goes, wow, what a beautiful tree. That's a bad news. Because they're supposed to be 30,000 feet. If they say, what a beautiful tree, they're about to crash into the ground. So he says, the guy that's learning Torah, and he's able to say, wow, what a beautiful tree. It means he's not holding in a Torah. Torah, you should be 30,000 feet up in the sky. You should be so absorbed in the Torah, immersed in the Torah. There's no trees. You don't see anything. If you say, oh, wow, what a beautiful tree, that means you're not in the Torah. So Yaakov Avinu is in the womb. When you see Torah, when you're so involved in Torah, nothing makes sense. Of course, it doesn't make sense if he's jumping out of the womb. It doesn't matter. When you're absorbed in Torah, it doesn't have to make sense. He was just jumping. It's Torah. He wanted to get it. Shem Yizakenu. Have a Gevaldi Shavish. Oh, yeah.